This is an aerial video that I shot at Beneficio El Manzano in El Salvador. And I thought it was a really good video to use to talk through some of the major components of an estate level coffee mill. At the top of the frame you can see the primary drying patio, and on the patio you can see that there are several coffees that have been spread out over the patio to dry. There are a lot of natural coffees that are spread out up there. That's why it has that red color. Those are red cherries drying in the sun. To the right of the coffee patio are two structures that have mechanical dryers. In the shortest of the two buildings, they have 4 horizontal drum dryers that they use. And then in the tall structure, I believe are silos to store coffee parchment, which they burn as fuel for the dryers. At roughly the 3 o'clock position in frame now is the secondary drying patio, and on that drying patio you can see that they have several washed coffees spread out in a square pattern drying, and you can also see under black tarps some other coffees waiting to be spread out. I shot this video in the morning before the workers got all the coffee spread out to dry. In the long white building is the dry mill, and that's where they have several machines such as optical sorters, hulling machines, maybe polishers, that sort of thing. And it's all for the process of coffee once it's dried. And then going back over to the primary patio, you can barely see the wet mill. And this is where coffee cherries actually start their journey through the coffee mill. They're brought in on big trucks and offloaded at the wet mill, and then using water conveyor systems they're moved throughout the wet mill and then ultimately to patio carts where they can be taken to either the drying patio or all the way over to the mechanical dryers. You can also see that a wet mill this size requires a lot of water. So over at the left you can see a big square water pond. We're flying over a large water tank now, there about in the center of the frame at the bottom. And then straight ahead here we're going to fly over another large water tank as well, the big black circular object. We're now going to fly out over some of the surrounding coffee fields. And one of the interesting things about Finca El Manzano is that it's a full sun coffee farm. But what we will see are some very tall trees that are used in rows for windbreaks. And once we get around to where we can see some of those windbreak trees, I'll point them out to you. And this is a good view of some of the surrounding mountains in the area. The views here were just absolutely beautiful. And this is where we'll start to see some of those windbreaks. So you can see some there, and then several up on that top left-hand corner.